Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
Listen, I don't want anyone to get too excited about the release of the JFK, RFK, MLK files because there's going to be a significant declassification, significant effort to obstruct the declassification, engage in significant redactions. I mean, I can declassify a document too, and if middlemen get in the way and put a bunch of black dots over everything, we're not going to learn much. So I think President Trump is committed to getting the information out there. I'm going to go into this in a little bit, but I don't think there's any question there was some significant CIA involvement. The question is, what was that involvement? Was that involvement some monitoring that they may have missed on Oswald? I'm just going to tell you something. We're coming out hot today, by the way. I mean, obviously, it's like almost like a cold open. In my time in the Secret Service Training Academy as a student and an instructor, I'm just telling you what we were told. I'm not telling you it's real or not, so don't jump down my throat. I'm just telling you it was passed to us. What was always passed to us is it was Oswald and Oswald alone. Again, don't jump down my throat. It's not my specific opinion. I'm just telling you that's what was always told to us. So, could they be hiding it from us too? Of course. I got a big show today. Obviously, you hear my voice. The inauguration funk caught everyone. Me, Michael, Evita, poor Andrew Clavin at the Daily Wire took a sick day. I feel okay. I don't want you to worry about me. I never do a show if I don't. I don't want you feeling bad for me during the show. I feel fine. I just got a little congested from the inauguration. I think I'm standing in that cold weather, shaking a million hands. It's just like a recipe for the transmission of pathogens to other people. Big show today. Folks, you ready to jumpstart your wellness in 2025? Lumen can help. Lumen. Lumen's one of the world's first handheld metabolic coaches. I use it. It's a device that can help measure your metabolism through your breath. I'm a life hacks guy. It has an app. It lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs, provides tailored guidance to help improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and stress management. All you have to do is breathe in the Lumen first thing in the morning. It's really simple. It'll analyze your metabolism, indicating whether you're burning fats or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for the day based on your measurements. You can also use Lumen before and after workouts and meals to assess what's going on in your body in real time. Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your wellness game. Take the next step to improve your health. Go to lumen.me/Bongino to get 20% off your Lumen. That's lumen.me/Bongino for 20% off your purchase. Lumen.me/Bongino. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. They're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or condition. Thank you, Lumen. All right, fellas, knock that bell out, kids. So, folks, before we get to the JFK stuff, which is extensive, JFK, and again, I have obviously a personal attachment to this, given my prior line of work and my concern with the Secret Service. I just want you to remember the Secret Service is not an intelligence gathering entity for obvious reasons. If you're gathering intelligence on your protectees, they're not going to want to be protected. So the fact that they may have told us something in training, it was just Oswald, doesn't mean that's necessarily the case. We have nothing to do with the intel community. And these are all compartmentalized programs anyway. So I'm just throwing that out there because I get this email all the time. Weren't you an instructor in the academy? They must have told you what happened. No, they didn't. I'd have the biggest story in the world. What motivation could I possibly have for not passing on to you the biggest story, in modern American history? If I had evidence, it'd be crazy. That's why I don't get into like these conspiracy theory stuff, because if you have a theory on something, throw it out there, but back it up with evidence. I want to get to this first. Trump yesterday, folks, the winning is just piling up. I mean, Donald Trump is going for it right now. Donald Trump is, one of the points I made in the primary when I endorsed Donald Trump early, a lot of people said, I'm going to go with another guy or woman, Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis. I like DeSantis. I'm not too crazy about Nikki Haley. And they said, because Donald Trump is going to be a lame duck. I said, you are missing this whole thing. The whole point about a Donald Trump second term, number one, he's not really a lame duck. Yeah, he can't run again, but you have J.D. Vance, you have the Trump kids who consider running, Laura Trump. His political dynasty is not over. So he's not technically he's a lame duck, but de facto, he's not a lame duck, right? Second, the fact that he doesn't have to worry about re-election, I told you was a positive because he's going to go in there like a freaking wrecking ball. And that's exactly what happened. Did you see this video yesterday? Donald Trump in front of all of these WEF, Davos elite, like foie gras eating, the elite bow tie wearing crowd. Did you see Donald Trump just tear up the Bank of America CEO right in front of his face? Folks, this made this an international story, and now people are paying attention to the censoring that happened and the debanking. That's the power of the pulpit. Check this out.
I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Folks, you understand why this is important? The debanking by a number of banks is a very real phenomenon we all know happened. Don't bullshit us, okay? Everybody knows it happened. When you win the presidency, you have the biggest bully pulpit in the world. Whatever Donald Trump says is news. He's the president. Whatever he said before was news, but not to this extent. You've got bank regulators now who are unquestionably on watch. Like, did this really happen where people cancel for political reasons, which a lot of people suspect happened? This is the power of the bully pulpit. This is why there is no substitute for winning. Anyone telling you, oh my gosh, we're going to lose this, but it'll build political momentum for next time, bullshit. There is no substitute for winning. The bully pulpit matters. This has now become, if you go on social media, a huge topic of discussion, the debanking efforts by a lot of these what I believe were liberal banking institutions that effed over conservatives. A couple people in the chat said it was glorious. Yeah, it was. Tell it like it is. You're damn right. It was awesome. This is the benefit of having a, quote, lame duck president. He doesn't have anything to lose, and the most dangerous people in the world are people with nothing to lose. Here's Trump yesterday, again, same speech, just filleting these global collectivist Green New Deal watermelon policies. Watermelon, yeah. Green on the outside, commie red on the inside. Everybody knows this is a scam. Everybody knows this is a proxy for communism. That's where the watermelon comes from. Green on the outside, red on the inside. Everybody knows it. Here he is taking it to the Green New scam. Check this out.
I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy. I declared a national energy emergency, and that's so important, national energy emergency, to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto.
Now, the World Economic Forum collectivists lost their shit over this. They lost it because folks, their term for all this, their buzz term is collective action. Collective action is a proxy term for globalists. What they mean is, individual countries shouldn't act in their own best interest. They should act in the best interest of the globe, collectivist action. Of course, that's ridiculous because different countries have different governing systems. Some of them are totalitarian, authoritarian. The United States needs to take care of the United States first. But because the United States is the richest country in the world, because of our system of our constitutional republic and our entrepreneurial free market system, the collectivists around the world hate us. So they want this leveling equity bullshit where they take they basically take the spoils of our hard work. It happens not just at the individual level where people want to tax, the so-called rich to pay people who don't work. It happens around the globe too. That's what they mean by collective action. I want you to watch this WEF elite here, losing her shit over this. They're in full panic mode. And I want you to listen at the end where she says, hey, the best thing we can do is ignore this stuff. You're going to ignore the United States? Are you sure? Be careful what you ask for. You may get it because your collectivist institutions, whether it's NATO or other institutions for security or energy cooperation, rely on us, not you. Check this out.
One way to look at the Trump administration and what to expect from them in the future is that it is an abrupt reversal of the Biden administration. I think my biggest concern would be a move away from global collective action on pressing problems like climate and security and public health. to name a few. There seems to be a rejection of COP already, moving out of the Paris Agreement, emphasis on carbon based fuel production and a canceling of the green. So I think this is quite harmful to prospects of international cooperation, and my hope would be that the rest of the world would ignore this rather than learn from it. But if people view the Trumpian moment as something to learn from, then I think we're in big trouble for the world economy.
If they view the Trumpian moment as something to learn from, the world economy is in trouble. It doesn't matter how many people vote for a different new way forward. The collectivists around the world are telling their people, hey, basically ignore this guy. The old way is the way. Don't let it happen. We got to keep the squeeze on these people, folks, and expose them. These great reset crowd people who want this collectivist action bullshit, we're going to expose them at every opportunity. So let me get back to what I was talking about in the beginning of the show, the JFK, RFK, MLK files. Here's a video of Donald Trump saying he's going to release these. I want to discuss a very specific problem with it, though, because Tulsi Gabbard at the ODNI, Director of National Intelligence, has not been confirmed yet. So we have a problem. If you listen to some of the Mike Benz, Mike Benz, our deep state specialist, if you listen to some of his audio on his X feed, he was doing a bunch of interviews, and he was saying that the person in charge right now at the ODNI, the acting, is basically a DEI person who is a holdover from the prior administration. So if she's responsible for the declassification, ladies and gentlemen, good luck on what you're going to get. I'll tell you what I heard. I'll tell you what I think they're hiding. And I'll tell you why it matters, most importantly. It's a very sensitive topic for me. Check this out.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed.
Now, everything will be revealed. I sincerely hope that that happens. Folks, the issue we're going to have is the person in charge now, before we get Tulsi in there, is definitely a Biden holdover who has an interest, like some deep state people, one of them being Mike Pompeo. I thought he was one of us. He's not one of us. In keeping these things secret. Here's the question, I believe the big question about the declassification, specifically of JFK, RFK, and MLK. Was the government involved in using these people for specific propaganda efforts and manipulating them through CIA folks or other intelligence people? Like I said, when we were in training, we were told it was just Oswald. Not that I necessarily believe that. But I want you to listen to Pompeo. This is an excellent interview. Pompeo, who has zero interest in getting this stuff out there. He was the director of the CIA, Sex State, right? Here he is with John Stossel, who's a libertarian. And Stossel's like, hey, man, this is 60 years ago. Like, are we going to release this information or what? I want you to listen to his words very specifically, because he says there are still some issues outstanding, even though it's 60 years ago, that could impact us right now. I think he's talking about some sensitive CIA programs that may involve some pretty significant information. However, we need to see it. It's been 60 years. This is how conspiracy theories flower when the government hides information. Check this out.
Why'd you fight to keep the JFK files secret?
Because I was trying to keep Americans safe. And by the way, don't paint with too broad a brush. 99.6% of the JFK files are public today.
But it was 60 years ago.
John, not everything was 60 years ago. And I don't want to spend a lot of time walking through this, but suffice it to say, the definition of a document covered by this statute that you're referring to, it's a little bit wonky, but suffice it to say, if Congress holds a hearing tomorrow on the Kennedy assassination, the documents generated tomorrow will be part of those files. Those would be tomorrow, they'd be 60 seconds old, not 60 years old. And last thing I'll say is there are things that happened 60 years ago that are still important to keep in the vault. There are lots of things that happened that long ago that still are appropriate not to release.
That to me confirms it, that there is some deeper level of CIA involvement here that the United States government is unwilling to tell us. Is it the CIA's role in the assassination? The answer, folks, is I don't know. My suspicion is probably not. That the CIA, I believe, and we'll see when it comes out, and I'm applying the Bongino rule here, so I want to just be candid with you. I'm speculating. But listening to and having read a bunch of material on this because it fascinates me, my suspicion is that although the CIA may not have been involved in the actual trigger pulling incident, that the CIA may have known more than they're letting on, and they don't want to shock the conscience of the American public by releasing that all, because it's going to basically rewrite history. And, of course, there's another theory out there. I saw a couple people on X saying, hey, it's a big nothing burger. They're going to release it and you're going to find out nothing. Personally, I doubt that. My experience with the government is that they don't dedicate an extreme amount of resources to keeping secrets secret if they don't have something to hide. I told you, I remember when I was an agent, I got sent over to Afghanistan. And they brought me in, and I was doing the lead advance, and they made me sign an NDA. It was like we were in the skiff, and it was all like deep six and stuff. Like, oh, we're going to Afghanistan. Obama's going to land in a war zone. You know, make sure nobody knows. Don't tell your wife you're going to Hawaii or something like that for a mission. And I get out in the parking lot. A guy calls me on the phone. He goes, hey, I heard you're doing the lead for Afghanistan. What I'm getting at is the government has a really hard time keeping secrets. Why have they exerted so much effort to keep this secret? There is something there that involves the CIA, clearly. And I think it's what they knew and what they let happen rather than what they did. Tell me if I'm wrong. I could be. I'm speculating, however, based on a good amount of research on the topic. We'll see what's up with that. Trump's executive orders yesterday and other actions, though, the winning continues, folks. It was just it's been, since Monday, such a deluge of information. I got to be straight with you, man. It is really, this is like Jim put together the show last night. And it's like, I'm not even going to get to half this stuff because so much is happening so fast. It's really hard to keep track. One of the things I've warned you about repeatedly, because it freaks me out, is CBDCs. Hold on, let me get some coffee here. Central bank digital currencies. Folks, if you want a totalitarian society, allowing the government's central bank to create a digital currency is the way to do it. It would be an absolute disaster. The government would basically have a digital trail of everywhere you spent money. Firearms store, you spending money online, what are you doing online? The government would know everything. They'll say they won't, but they will. They're definitely going to track it. Also, one of the things about a central bank digital currency that freaks me out is that the government could implement negative interest rates for the first time. I don't want to get too in the weeds on it, but the gist of it is this. The way to monetize the debt is to implement negative interest rates. And what's a negative interest rate? It's exactly how it sounds. You put your money in a bank, you get a positive interest rate, right? You get a return. What if they were negative? Now, you're probably saying in the chat, right? Michael, you're a smart guy. Well, then there's an easy way out of that. You just take your freaking money out of the bank. If the bank's taking your money every day through negative interest rates, which is what they'd be doing, you take it out. You put two and two together. If you have a central bank digital currency and there's no paper, there ain't no way to take it out. You could devalue the currency dramatically through negative interest rates and surveil every single person. Unusual whales breaking. President Trump, again, folks, the winning is freaking ridiculous. There's so much winning this week, it's like hard to keep track of the freaking winning. President Trump signs executive order to ban central bank digital currencies. I freaking love this guy. I love this guy. Can you guys, folks in the chat who doubted me, some of you doubted me, it's okay. You know I love you guys, the Bongino Army. But some of you doubted me during the primary. And you said, listen, this guy's going to be a lame duck. And I told you, that's the greatest gift possible is a president who knows where the bodies are buried from his first term and doesn't have to worry at all about re-election, especially a guy with the balls of Donald Trump. This stuff is all happening. It's almost like impossible to keep track of it all. I'm not even done. We have this broken down into executive orders and other actions. Pardons yesterday for pro-lifers. We have Trump on interest rates. This is the only area I disagree with. I'm not here to be a sycophant to anyone. I'm going to explain why coming up in a second. I love the president. We're not going to agree on everything. He's always been fair to me either way. But this is the only thing I disagree with him on. And again, in the chat, chime in. You think I'm wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. I'd love to hear it. Quick break, right back to the show. A lot going on. Folks, if you have a dog they smell bad or they're itchy, you're going to want to hear from our new sponsor, Coat Defense. It started as a human skincare company, but they became deeply troubled by all the toxic medications and topical treatments commonly used on dogs. I had to give Lucy a bath last night. She was a mess. She went outside, created total chaos last night. They created a non-toxic, quickly effective solution to common skin and coat issues with dogs, remedies the issues, and helps prevent these troubles from returning. I use it on Lucy. They sent me a sample. I love it. Give your dog a happier, longer, healthy life. If your dog's itchy and all the pills and shots aren't helping, Coat Defense works because many itchy dogs, they have an overgrowth of yeast on the skin, in the folds, paws, or inside the ears. You've seen it, which can clear up in a day or two using Coat Defense in their products. So order it today. We use it on Lucy. We love it. You can save 15% on your first order at coatdefense.com, and be sure to enter code DAN when you check out. That's code, common spelling, COAT. Coatdefense.com for 15% off. Enter code DAN. Support our sponsors, folks. They're very good to us. We pick them wisely. Help give your dog relief and avoid those expensive vet visits. Coatdefense.com, 15% off. Something better for your dog. Okay, back to the show. It didn't end there. Donald Trump not only pardoned the people involved in J6, which was unquestionably a weaponization of government in the process. Here he is yesterday pardoning, 23 pro-lifers who were prosecuted using everything from the FACE Act and every other thing. It's amazing. BLM and Antifa, you can burn down a freaking city. Nothing happens to you. You get a $3 million donation from a major blue chip company. But you dare go in front of an abortion clinic, you're going to find yourself in the clink. Check this out.
A set of pardons for peaceful pro-life protesters who were prosecuted by the Biden administration for exercising their First Amendment rights.
Do you know how many?
I believe it's 23, sir.
23 people were prosecuted. They should not have been prosecuted. Many of them are elderly people. They should not have been prosecuted. This is a great honor to sign this.
You see it? I notice this is catching some steam online. My Rock'em Sock'em robots, if you're wondering where the other guy is, he's gone. So he's going to have to fight himself. We threw him around. I think he broke. Folks, this is the way you do it. Rock'em Sock'em. Keep punching. Sorry, it was a little late. I feel good today. I ask you, I'm like, do I sound a little like low energy? I'm sorry. I promise you, I feel great. I don't mean to sound that way. It's just my voice is struggling a little bit from the inauguration fungus. Is that what that is? I'm wondering what this freaking new emoji is because I'm blind as a freaking bat. Is that Rock'em Sock'em Robots? Yesterday, that thing was filtering through the live chat, and I'm like, what the hell is? I thought it was the Fugazi. So that's Rock'em Sock'em. This is what he's doing. They're still hung up on, did you see the Marjorie Taylor Greene video, by the way? It's on my X feed if you want to see it. They accost Marjorie Taylor Greene up in Congress about the J6 thing. They're still upset about that. And what does he do? He pardons pro-lifers. He keeps hitting them, and he's not letting them get their sea legs. This reminds me, although I don't like Arnold Schwarzenegger at all, obviously he was a fake Republican, but he ran for governor, and this guy wins the primary on the Democrat side. I forget his name, but Schwarzenegger drops like a $6-7 million ad bomb on his head on day one. And the guy can't keep up with it and never really got his sea legs back. This is what's happening with the media now. They want to ask about J6, but then they're upset about the pro-lifers, and then they're upset about the JFK files, and then they're upset about Trump exposing Bank of America. They don't know what to do. The Rock'em Sock'em Robots, I know we kind of F around a lot, but it's not funny. Like, I'm dead serious. This is a real strategy. Again, Bannon, a friend of the movement, calls it the flood the zone strategy. I don't care what you call it. The minute they get upset about one thing, he picks another one. Here is the one thing, because Donald Trump and I don't agree on everything. And let me just say in advance, folks, and I'm not name dropping, so please, that's just lame and stupid, and you sound like a freaking dork. I know the president, okay, not well. We've had dinner a couple times. He was kind enough to invite us to his club, but I haven't been with him a lot. So it's just like reverse name dropping. But the times I have spoken to him, one of the things I always found very kind of endearing about him is there's this rumor out there about President Trump. It's a media-driven rumor, of course, that, You either have to agree with him or he is going to isolate you to the phantom zone and you're out of his inner circle. I'm telling you that's total bullshit. I could bring my wife in here as a witness to our dinner in Bedminster when she was just us three, and I talked to him about abortion. We disagree on abortion. It's okay. It's okay. This is the one area I do disagree with him a little bit. Donald Trump wants interest rates to come down. Folks, I think that's a real mistake. I believe me, as an investor, significant investor in Rumble and the stock market, it would benefit me for interest rates to come down because it's easy money for companies. However, I really don't think it's good for the economy right now. We've got to suck this inflation out. I'm not saying we need an interest rate hike, but I don't think we need interest rates to come down right now. We got to dry up a little bit of the money supply. But listen to him. Here he is saying, hey, I'm going to squeeze these guys and we'll see what happens. Check this out.
The interest rates will come down.
You said that you would demand that the interest rates come down.
Well, I would put, in a strong statement.
Do you expect the Fed to listen to you?
Yeah.
You know where this comes from? I've had a lot of conversations about this with him. He's a real estate guy and he's a business guy. And obviously as a business guy, I'll just ask you a simple question, folks. You're a business guy. You have to take out a $10 million loan to build up a property you renovated. You want to pay 5% interest on the loan or you want to pay 10%? Okay, thanks. 5%, correct? That's where this comes from because he's a business guy. I don't fault him for it. I'm not mad at him. I just think it's a mistake. If we push interest rates down and inflation explodes, he's going to have a far bigger problem to deal with. Because, folks, as you've seen with inflation, he's like, shut up, right? Do I have to shut up? Tell me to shut up. I mean, am I good? Okay. Folks, is this annoying? I know these economic segments, people hate them. If interest rates come down too much and money starts flooding through the economy again and inflation ticks up to 5-7%, we're going to have a lot big problems to deal with, okay? You don't want to pay $72 for cat food. That's why. The only area I disagree, I think we should stop. I think we should definitely chill on that. Okay, moving on. Here's another thing I would like Donald Trump to really get on right away. I know he's looking at it. I know his team is looking at it. They were all over this. Folks, the European Union is totally effing us over. They're effing us at the drive-through, Leo Getz style. They are screwing us over. I've seen it with Rumble. I don't know if you know this, but the European Union is pushing this misinformation and disinformation laws. And that's why Rumble is not in a lot of foreign countries. We're not in France. We're not in Brazil. Because Chris from Rumble, Pavlovsky, who I admire greatly, Chris was told by foreign countries, hey, you need to censor this stuff or we're going to pull your site down. You know what Chris said? Double-barreled F you. We're pulling the site down in advance because Chris is a good guy. And thank you for Rand Paul for the shout-out for Rumble, saying that the whistleblower, Chia Morella, that the only place you were allowed to talk about that was Rumble. And that's correct. Thank you, Rand Paul, for the shout-out. Bottom line, we have to fight this right away because American tech companies are going to be destroyed. True Social, Rumble, and others if this EU censoring continues. Here's Mike Benz on the depth of the problem. I know the Trump team's on this. They're going to squeeze on it, but it's important we move quick. Check this out.
Right now, as we speak, the National Endowment for Democracy is a signatory to the EU Code of Practice on Disinformation. I'll say that again. Trump's probably most pernicious CIA cutout, being funded by the federal government as we speak, is still a proud signatory to a European law forcing U.S. companies to censor whatever the EU says is disinformation. That has to be ended immediately. There should be no U.S.-funded NGO, no third-party group, no government blessing whatsoever. We need to be declaring war on the Digital Censorship Act. Sorry, the Digital Services Act. Anyone who is endorsing that cannot get a single dollar of U.S. government grant or contractual support. And we need to route this out, root and stem. So the fact that Biden had government agencies and pseudo-government agencies work with the U.S., with the EU government in order to kill U.S. companies, that dark age is over. We're here for the golden age now.
Folks, I want you to look this up. I'm not one to assign homework, okay? I'm not your school teacher. I'm not your preacher, your imam, your rabbi, or anything. But if there was a homework assignment and you were interested in it, I strongly encourage you over the weekend to look up the DSA, the Digital Services Act. It is a big deal. It is a means for European Union countries to shut down tech companies that don't censor. It is a huge deal. And we need the Trump team, and I know they're on it, to battle this thing full force. By the way, thank you to everyone who leaves tips in the chat. I just want to say in advance, totally unnecessary. I am not here for more of your money. We have sponsors that pay for the show to keep it free. It is very generous of you. I see D and someone else, $5, $2. I am the one guy here not asking you for money. You don't have to tip here at all. Of course you don't have to. I appreciate it, but it's totally unnecessary. We're doing A-OK. Save your money. I deeply appreciate it. It means the world to me. But tip some other creators and stuff. Save your money. We're doing fine. The sponsors are great to us. We have a great show. And I want you to keep your money. Times are tough right now. Thank you. But no need to tip. I'm actually thinking about turning that feature off if I can. But I just feel bad. Sorry, got a little distracted. Hey, Moink, another one of these great sponsors. It said that 4 companies control over 80% of the U.S. meat industry. Reports say China now controls the largest portion of U.S. pork. These companies use mob-like tactics to crush American family farms. And with the additives they're putting in our food, Americans are stuck with sketchy meat. So what can we do about this? A company I've been following for a long time, Moink. They're going to take care of you, family farms, and your family's food security. Their business is simple. Moink's meat comes from animals raised outdoors, where a pig is free to be a pig. Farmers are given an honest day's pay for an honest day's work. I spoke to the owner of the company. She's an amazing lady. They deliver meat straight to your doorstep at prices you can actually afford. Born, raised, and harvested right here in the USA. Support American family farms and join the Moink movement today. Pick up some great tasting meat at moinkbox.com/Bongino now and get free wings for life. They're the best wings you'll ever taste for free. Check them out before a limited time. Spelled Moink, M-O-I-N-K, moinkbox.com/Bongino. That's moinkbox.com/Bongino. The meat is absolutely amazing. And our last sponsor today, Tax Network USA. Is your risk high that an IRS agent's about to show up at your home over unpaid taxes or unfiled returns, or that the IRS may freeze your bank accounts? Listen, understanding your IRS risk levels help you decide how quickly you need to act. So take my advice and find out. Call the experts at Tax Network USA and share your situation. They'll advise if they believe your risk level is high, moderate, or low. It's a free service for my audience, and it's 100% confidential. If your risk is high and you want to resolve your IRS problems, Tax Network USA will take steps to help you do it. Nobody knows the IRS better. In fact, Tax Network USA is a preferred direct line, so they know which agents to deal with and which to avoid. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt, so whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their genius strategies are designed to quickly settle your tax problems. Discovering your current IRS risk level is free, fast, and confidential. It's a smart first step in solving your tax problems. Call Tax Network USA at 1-800-958-1000. That's 1-800-958-1000. Or visit tnusa.com/Dan. tnusa.com/Dan. Thanks, Tax Network USA. All right, they were coming fast and furious yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. All of them. These EOs, these other actions. Donald Trump is in the FO portion of the round, and find out. I'm happy to see it. Yesterday, however, a federal judge in Seattle blocked, at least temporarily, President Trump's attempt to rescind birthright citizenship to illegals per the AP. He called it blatantly unconstitutional. Let me give you, you know what? First, let me play this clip from the 5, the Queen of the Currents, which doesn't sound so great. Like, that's me. Is that me? Is that me or Jim? That's me? That's actually my voice. You guys, I don't know what you did with the echo feature. Let me play this first. Here is the great, the legend, Greg Gutfeld, who I watched the 5 to watch Greg and Jessica go at it. Again, folks, it's not personal. I don't dislike Jessica. She was always very nice to me. I just disagree with her politically. I think the stuff she says is frankly pretty stupid. But Greg always tears her a new one. Here's Jessica on birthright citizenship. Notice how she doesn't even answer the question. I'm not even sure she really knows what it means. Oh, yeah, it means you were born. No, this is a big legal issue right now. It's not just you were born here. You have to actually read the 14th Amendment. Check this out.
You vote to revoke birthright citizenship for the children of people who are here legally.
Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, I do.
Tell me about it. Tell me what birthright citizenship meant.
Well, I think when Donald Trump was talking about it and disparaging people who are here, he was talking about undocumented people who come and drop their anchor babies. He wasn't talking about people who are here on student visas, people who are here on H-1B visas.
You're always going to choose this weird exception.
No,
The fact is the
it's
system
not
is being
weird.
gamed. Americans voted for Donald Trump because they saw these systems, these institutions being gamed. The asylum issue, the birthright citizen issue, Title IX issues. Every single part of society was being gamed by the left. And finally, Americans got pushed too far. The point is, you don't have to like everything in the restaurant to like the restaurant. There are things, I go to a restaurant, I don't eat any seafood, but I like that restaurant because it's got steak. There are things that Trump will do that I will disagree with, but the entire package is as close as you're going to get to what Americans want.
You guys are so funny. Queen of the You guys are funny. I tell you, don't worry about tip. We get more tips now. You would think that was like a psyop, like I was reverse. I love you guys. Forget it. I'm not saying it anymore. You want a tip? Knock yourselves out. I love it. I appreciate it, but I wasn't playing a game with you. But you guys are funny. I love you guys. The Bongino Army, man. I don't think people know. I really don't. Do you know sometimes, I don't want to get distracted. I want to get back to this, but just one quick thing. Do you have any idea how many times I'm in a little group of people? It's rare when I get out, but I do. And they'll say something like when I was at this Facebook event and I was talking to a bunch of folks, I met Chamath Palihapitiya. I played his clips before, super nice guy, but I was talking to a bunch of people and they're stunned that we're the #1 live stream in the United States for politics on just about every 4 out of 5 days of the week. They were stunned. They have no idea how powerful this Bongino Army is. You guys are amazing, and I want you to know I appreciate it. Here, getting back to that, Greg is accurate, and Jessica, of course, is not, the queen of the Karens. Ladies and gentlemen, birthright citizenship by the 14th Amendment, as always, there's a clause in there, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Now, there is an open question. I want you to remember these two terms. You want to sound smart in your group of legal friends? Ask them if there is a difference between political and territorial jurisdiction and watch them spin their wheels. Territorial jurisdiction would be the idea if you're born in the United States under any conditions whatsoever, you are in fact a citizen. No, that has never been a fully legally decided decision. There are a lot of legal scholars who believe that the 14th Amendment, interpreted the right way, meant political jurisdiction. That if you were born in the United States to American citizens or people subject to the political jurisdiction thereof, then that's what they meant. If you're born overseas to 2 American citizens, if me and Paula had another kid on our trip to Spain, they're still American citizens because they're subject to political jurisdiction, not territorial. Folks, this is not a decided question. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. And I don't believe, if you go and look at the history of this with Dred Scott and slavery, that the people who wrote the 14th Amendment meant it to mean territorial jurisdiction, that if you're born here, no questions asked, you're a citizen. I don't believe it. And I think anyone telling you otherwise is lying. And I think if it gets to the Supreme Court, they could have a real problem. And I'm going to tell you why. Gorsuch is a hardcore originalist. Just look at the McGirt decision. And if Gorsuch is going to play it straight, he made a big decision with Oklahoma McGirt, turning over all that land. That was a huge decision that's caused a tremendous ripple effect in Oklahoma and elsewhere. Look up the decision if you know what I mean. He's like, hey, we wrote a treaty, that's it. Well, folks, if you're going to go back and look at why we wrote the 14th Amendment the way we did, I don't believe it involved territorial jurisdiction at all. It was political. Don't let them spin your wheels on this. Jessica doesn't know what she's talking about. Greg does. Really smart guy. Speaking of deportations and border protections, folks, they're happening. Look at this. Donald Trump. Folks, that's why we titled today, The Winning. The winning doesn't, I don't know how many times I can write this headline into the show. Every single day we could do, the winning continues at Monday edition. The winning continues Friday edition. Border encounters drop sharply as Trump launches crackdown on illegal immigration. This is like the most unshocking headline you've ever seen. That's true. Mayorkas said the border was closed and this would never happen. You tell people cross the border illegally and we're going to deport you, and you start the deportation flights, and shocker, people don't want to come here. This is not hard. President Donald Trump signed a number of border security measures on Monday. Folks, there's a line of people now trying to get back to Mexico and other countries who are here illegally. None of this is surprising. Why? Check this video out from Fox. This is Bill Malugin talking about roundups starting already. There's a way not to get involved in a roundup. Don't break the law and come here illegally. This isn't hard. I don't hate anybody. My wife's a legal immigrant in the country. But if she had to follow the rules, then damn it, so do you. This isn't difficult. Check this out.
I'm not going back to Haiti. One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies.
Folks, let me ask you a question. What sane American objects to this? An MS-13 member in the country illegally. So he's a criminal for entering the country illegally, period. But then there's accusations that this guy is apparently some significant gang member in the United States who's going to cause a bunch of chaos because I told you yesterday a small group of people caused an inordinate amount of violent crime. Who is going to object to this? The answer is crazy people are going to object to this. But there's a new sheriff in town. I'm going to circle back to the beginning of the show because I can't say it enough. Some people disagreed with me. Dan, we don't need Donald Trump. We need DeSantis. We need Haley. I love DeSantis. Again, not a huge fan. I do. I love Ron DeSantis. I got a video of him coming up. He's fantastic. I just didn't think it was his time, period. D, how much did that bother me? We had all these DeSantis. I'm like, guys, I love the guy. It's just not his time. Donald Trump has 4 more years to get things done. He is going to come in the FO portion of the F around. And this is exactly what he's doing. Do you see now the benefit of it? All right, I'm beating this up. But look at the people he hired too. Here's his press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, who I adore. Here she is saying, hey man, this is just the beginning. Like, we're not done. This thing has just started. You don't like it. Like, get on the train or get run over by it. Check this out.
Securing the southern border and deporting illegal immigrants from this country. President Trump is sending a very strong message to people around this world. If you are thinking about breaking the laws of the United States of America, you will be returned home. You will be arrested. You will be prosecuted. Do not come.
I love this woman. I saw her at a Miami Heat game down in Miami. I think she's a Celtics fan. And it was the finals. And she yells across. She probably remembers this. Bongino! Anyone who calls you only by your last name, I love you right away. It's like a New York thing and a Boston thing. This woman is going to be a total ball buster. And I mean that in a good way. This is what's happening right now. Now, I want you to notice something in addition. Here's a couple of the educational portions of the edutainment portion of the show, educational entertainment. We talked about political territorial jurisdiction. That is not a settled argument, okay? Anyone telling you that is lying to you. They're not. If they're lawyers, they should be disbarred because they're too stupid. Another thing I want to address is it's interesting. Now, I know the left isn't the hierarchy and they don't care about hypocrisy, but it's still up to us to propose to the normies out there and to show them how hypocritical the left is. Do you remember when Arizona back in 2010 instituted SB 1070? The left called it the Show Me Your Papers law. And they basically said Arizona law enforcement officials can involve themselves in the immigration function. Do you guys remember that? Jan Brewer, it was a long time ago. You may not. It doesn't really matter. If you don't remember it, the left went crazy and said Arizona cannot enforce immigration law. It is a federal issue. And they fought like crazy. There are thousands of hours of video on this. Now, Donald Trump's in office. He is the head of the federal government in the executive branch. And because the left doesn't care about hypocrisy, all they care about is hierarchy and taking down and dismantling structures of power they're not involved in, like Donald Trump, they take the exact opposite approach. Here's Big Tish James up in New York, the New York State Attorney General, a hack and a tyrant and a life loser. New York has laws that protect immigrants and limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement efforts. Wait, keep that up. I thought it was a federal issue. Now it's a state issue again. Those laws should be followed by law enforcement and officials in our state. I'll always uphold our laws and protect immigrant New Yorkers. Now, you see, now it's a state issue. Go look it up. Someone in the chat, Anita, put up a link to SB 1070 Arizona, and you'll read the exact opposite argument. The exact opposite argument by the left. Arizona can't enforce immigration law. It's a federal thing. Tish James in New York. New York can ignore federal immigration law. It's a state thing. These people are freaking frauds. Now, Tom Homan is another FAFO guy. You know Tom Homan. We love him. Tom's an amazing guy. He's the border czar. I hope Tom Homan is sincere on this. I have no reason to believe otherwise. Tom Homan's like, hey, man, 18 U.S.C. 1324, harboring illegal aliens. If you're going to be one of these government officials that's going to hide illegal aliens breaking the law, you may find yourself in the clink too. Check this out.
Quickly, what happens to a mayor or a local police department chief that is under Democratic leadership that obstructs ICE in your federal agents that are helping get these deportations? What happens to them?
Well, first of all, if they don't want to help us get the hell out of the way, we're going to do it. If I got to send twice the amount of resources to that city, that's what we're going to do. If they would give us access to the jail, that would mean less agents in the community. For them pushing back and not letting us in the jail, it just means more agents are going to be in the community, so they're hurting themselves. Finally, I'll say this. They need to educate themselves. They need to review this. Title 8, United States Code, 1324, III. Read about that and don't cross that line, because it is a felony to harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE. Read the statute, don't cross that line.
Of course, producer Guy and Jim are always here to do you a favor. 18 U.S.C. 1324. You can read it yourself right there. Bringing in and harboring certain aliens. What do you think? Tom Homan's making it up? It's right there. Folks, I'm telling you right now, the fact that this guy is in his second term and has absolutely nothing to lose, you have the potential for the greatest 4-year run in the golden age of MAGA Republican politics you're going to see in your lifetime. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm not one of these Eckhart Tolle power on now guys. I don't really care about any of that stuff. But the hard reality is we only live in the now. And you are living right now. I hope you understand this. You guys get this in the golden age of MAGA politics. There is one obstacle for us transforming the government completely, and that's the House. The House has a slim majority. We have enough in the Senate if we use reconciliation to do big things. We also have a couple of Democrats like Fetterman who may come over. By the way, I did the Fetterman. You guys see me walk in with the Fetterman? You guys see this? I never wear hoodies. It is like global warming in Florida. It's like 40 degrees. That's obviously a joke. So I wore my you see this? The Don't Get Dead hoodie. I came in rocking the Fetterman look today. I should have kept it on for the show. But Fetterman, we have other people who may come over with us on the other side. The shorts, right? I know. What do you think? Should we do shorts? All our proceeds go to. It's a great way to raise money for charity. We gave away a ton of money thanks to the shirts. Okay, back to the show. Here's Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, showing you again how this is done dealing with these freaking media lunatics. They are not undocumented, folks. There's a reason they don't have documents. The reason they don't have documents is they decided not to get them because they broke the law. He gives a great example here, and this is how you should deal with the media. You never, ever accept the premise of their euphemism questions. Undocumented. They're illegal aliens. They are aliens to the country by legal standard, and they are here illegally. That is the term. Check this out.
Florida is home to hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants who are working in areas.
Well, you know, just to be, so the federal government has made clear that the statutory term, it's not they're illegal aliens. That's the statutory term, and that's what it is. And I think it's to try to water down. I mean, like undocumented, it's like if I get in my car and I forget my wallet, okay, I don't have my document on me, like my driver's license. But I mean, I still have a right to drive. I just made a mistake. This is intentional to come in illegally. And it's not just a question of missing a document. It's a question of, you violated the law that were very clear and knowingly and with the help of the cartels in many cases.
Yes. Dude, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be distracted, but Uncle Sam in the chat has probably the most genius idea. He says, Dan, you need the Fetterman package, the hoodie and the shorts combo. He may be a Democrat, but being that the money goes to charity, I'm sure he wouldn't object either. I don't know. Does he have like a trademark on his name? That's actually not a bad idea. The Don't Get Dead hoodie and shorts. I actually love that idea. The John Friend. Maybe can someone send an email to his office and tell him it's for charity? There it is. There it is right there. Guy pulled it offline. There is the federal. That is a great idea, Uncle Sam. Thank you. This is why I love you guys. And thank you to Speak the Truth, McGroin, one of the senior members of the McGroin crowd, for putting up SB 1070 in Arizona. You can read it yourself. But that's how you deal with these media goons, folks. Do not let them play the euphemisms game. They are not undocumented. The reason they don't have documents is because they're here illegally. End of story. That is an appropriate and proper legal term if you look at the terminology. Don't let the media do the euphemisms game. If you win the word games, you win the argument before even making it. You understand that? If you start talking about things like, here's words you should never use. Undocumented individuals, throw that right in the garbage. They're illegal aliens. And gender-affirming care. There is no such thing. There is no such thing as gender-affirming care. The only gender-affirming care is your original gender when you were born, because that's your gender. Don't use these terms. Now, Donald Trump is headed out right now to California and North Carolina to review the damage from the devastating wildfires. Here is the California Attorney General, this guy, Rob Bonta. Now, you think this guy would be concerned about finding the arsonists, people who are burning the state down? No. Illegal immigration is so important, specifically to the state of California, to refill the population, to prevent them from losing House of Representatives members in their demographic destiny argument, which they try to make all the time. We played the cut. And the Electoral College, that even as the place burns, this is their big concern, is this illegal immigration raid, because they don't want to lose population. That's what's really behind this. Check this out.
This is, however, something he promised, right? It's something that you knew was coming, that your fellow attorneys general knew was coming, and you were able to prepare for. I'm wondering what your conversations are like now and what your other major concerns are moving forward. Are you preparing for other actions that you think President Trump will make good on?
That's right. We've been preparing for weeks and months. Our ability to move quickly with our briefs and our filing, and many states working together, is proof positive of that. The president did make a promise on birthright citizenship and revoking it, and I made it a promise too, and I'm keeping it, that I will see you in court when you break the law and violate the U.S. Constitution. That promise applies here, and it applies to any other action that he takes. We're looking closely at his other executive orders, including trying to use the military for civil immigration enforcement activities on American soil. We're looking at some of the other executive orders, how they impact our transgender communities. And so we expect this not to be the first overreach and unlawful and unconstitutional action by the president. And every time and any time he violates the law, it violates the U.S. Constitution, we will see him in court and we will stop him.
Again, a couple points here. Number one, you see how this clown joker from California, the Attorney General Bonta, is now back to immigration as a state issue again, when they made the exact opposite argument with SB 1070. And second, the guy's state is burning to the ground. Billions of dollars in property damage. Entire neighborhoods wiped out. You've got arsonists potentially behind some of these fires. And what's this dipshit involved in? He's concerned about illegals, gang members, and others being deported back to the countries they came from because they came here illegally. By the way, thank you to Hoyden993, all caps. Great show, Dan and crew. I hope you think so. I was a little nervous because I know my voice sounds really terrible, and I was afraid it was going to kind of come off bad. But I think once we kind of got into flow, everything was okay. My voice is still a little scratchy. All right, a couple more things I want to get to today. We got some time left for you here because they're important. Elizabeth Warren, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and others are engaged in this battle to keep Pete Hegseth from being the Secretary of Defense. It's not going to happen. Hegseth has the votes. He is going to get through. Bank on it, cash that check, spend the money, okay? However, let me just tell you how to kind of direct your political anger here. And I mean this in a tactical way, not an emotional way. Forget Susan Collins. I don't get emotional about these things. Susan Collins from Maine she's not a Republican, okay? She runs as a Republican. She's the best you're going to get. Don't waste any time. She's a political survivor up there. I'm serious. The fact that she's fighting against Pete is annoying. She's not going to sink the nomination. He's fine. Even if Mitch McConnell votes no, JD's the tiebreaker, Vice President Vance. So don't worry about that. Murkowski's a different story. The reason I get so angry at Murkowski is she is a freaking Republican from a blood red state in Alaska. Folks, this woman has to go. She will do anything to stay in power. They have manipulated voting systems. She is run as a write-in after losing primaries, the Joe Miller thing. She is a disgrace. She is the single most destructive Republican up there, to the point where I've never told you ever to vote for a Democrat over a Republican. And I'm not sure I'm telling you that, but this is the first time I'm considering it, because she's that bad and you are never, ever going to get rid of her. I would rather deal with a Democrat for 6 years and then finally get some sanity back than to have to deal with her for 12, 18 more years. She is a total disaster. It should tell you something that Murkowski, Collins, whatever. Don't even waste your time on Collins. I'm serious. She is what she is. She gets elected all the time in Maine. Murkowski's a different story. We should have a diehard up there. We should have a Ted Cruz, Mike Lee type up there. And we don't. Doesn't it tell you something that her and Elizabeth Murkowski and Elizabeth Warren are leveling the same attacks against Pete Hegseth? That's who Lisa Murkowski is. Here's Pocahontas, again, with the fairy tale that Pete is some kind of out-of-control drunk. I have known Pete Hegseth 10 years. Whatever. I've told you this 1,000 times. The story is bullshit. And everybody who knows him will tell you. Check this out.
We cannot trust the safety of our country to someone who has demonstrated repeatedly using very bad judgment with alcohol and doing it in ways that truly have incapacitated him. This is not a moment to take that kind of risk with our national security. And I hope that all 53 Republicans are thinking very hard about that.
You know, the only person on video making really bad decisions about alcohol is Elizabeth Warren. Do you remember? Thank you guys for pulling this up, Jim. This was genius. Do you remember Elizabeth Warren in maybe the cringiest moment of the election cycle? Hey, do you want a beer? Like it was totally, this woman has it. This is the fakest, this is the only woman on tape with cringy alcohol moments. Check this out.
I'm glad for everybody who's joining this video. It's great to hear from you. Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer. Hey, Clover, my husband Bruce is now in here. You want a beer?
No, I'll pass on the beer for now.
You sure? Okay, say hello.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, have you ever seen that video? The freaking cringiest thing. I love when she asked the husband, hey, you want a beer? I'll pass on the beer for now. By the way, she looks like, the twist off thing is hilarious. It was probably a pop off top and she didn't even know or something like that. The woman is a total mess. If you're agreeing with Elizabeth Warren and you're Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, you're probably doing it wrong. Folks, the woman is a disgrace. She is a total mess. And to the citizens of Alaska who listen to my show or on the radio over there, please, you have got to get rid of her politically. She needs to be removed from that office. She is terrible. She kills the Republican cause in what should be a blood red seat. That's an easy vote for Pete. Shameful. Folks, thanks for tuning in, tolerating my destroyed vocal cords. The inauguration funk caught us all. I hope Andrew Klavan feels better. I saw on Daily Wire on X, he said he was taking a day off for the first time in a while. But a lot of people, I think, standing out in the cold. By the way, the cold weather doesn't really cause colds, but you tend to touch your nose more because you get a lot of like mucus and everything. So I think that's what happened. You shake a bunch of hands, you're touching your face, you get all sick. So everybody came back sick with the funk from the inauguration. Michael thinks it was a Joe Biden bioweapon sprayed above the city. So all of us came back with the funk. But Michael, unbelievably, he must have an immune system like freaking Wolverine. He was like sick for a day and that was it. Poor Evita's dying. Did you see her on her show today? She's like coughing up a storm. She had to apologize like 1,000 times, but she banged out a great show. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Please download the Rumble app. Go to rumble.com/Bongino if you want to watch on the web. Please click that follow button, that subscribe button like you see on the screen. And a big thank you if you do. We're trying to get to 4 million subscribers before the end of the year. It would mean a lot to us. And please, over the weekend, go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow The Dan Bongino Show. Really appreciate it. I will see you back here at 11 a.m. on Monday.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show.